What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Connectors Corner, where we build everything on Kingdom Principle. I am your host, Drew Dockery, the Master Connector, and I'm a business coach, and I help people who are sales professionals and entrepreneurs not leave money on the table by doing three things. Number one, monetizing relationships. Number two, growing their networks. Number three, making proper connections. I am also the author of the Connectors Handbook. You guys, if you don't have this book, you are doing yourself a disservice. You definitely want to make sure you have this book in your arsenal so that you can move and groove greatly when you're in those rooms of greatness. So today, it's not about me, but I do want to give you guys a concept from the book that I've developed over time, and it's called the $1 Billion Room. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, for the next two sessions, the concept of the $1 Billion Room. Now, I believe that any person who's going after a goal aggressively, you come to a point where you find yourself in a very high level room. And at this point, this is a great turning point for your businesses. So you'll either be in a room with a bunch of rich and wealthy, high, powerful people, or you'll be in a room with a bunch of people who have a lot to give that can come together and create some sort of unified movement, whatever business project they're working on. So the concept of the $1 Billion Room is something I experienced when I built my first six-figure business. I happened to be working with a gentleman from down south, my business coach, Mr. Jerry Wilkins. I owe him so much because he definitely unlocked the key. He was the key to me unlocking everything I needed to do and learn in business to just start to really see some progress and see some profits as well. So I definitely owe him a lot. Thank you a lot, Mr. Wilkins, if you're watching. But yeah, the $1 Billion Room, you normally are networked into that room. You're ushered into that room. Somebody brings you into that room. It's normally not something that you yourself do to get there. You have to know somebody. So for me, that was my experience. I knew a young lady. We're still friends to this day. And she got invited by somebody she was connected to in business to come to this event in Buffalo. Now, I'm in Buffalo, New York, yes. And this building where the event took place, it happened to be downtown Buffalo, one of the old aristocrat buildings. I never even knew the building was that nice on the inside. I had passed it millions of times and never even knew it was something going on inside of there because I wasn't privy to that information at that time, so to speak. But, you know, everything happens for a reason, right? So my friend got me in. She talked to the gentleman who invited her, and she was like, hey, would it be okay if I brought a +1? He said, sure, I trust you. Whoever you bring to this event, I'm quite sure they're going to be an upstanding person. I can't wait to meet him. She said, okay, cool. First phone call. Hey, Drew, what you doing tomorrow? I'm like, hey, I'm chilling, not doing too much of nothing. She was like, hey, you got to come in the morning with me to this event. And it's connected to a lot of the, I don't want to say, well, I would say underlying elite financiers or people who are wealthy in Buffalo. It was a billionaire in the room at that point, one of the local billionaires here. But it was a lot of people who were super successful in this room. And she was just like, you should be there. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Say less. So we're there. The next morning we get there. And pretty much when you go to events like this, what happens is they turn it into a networking event. There's portions of the event that is not the main portion, but you get a chance to connect and meet and greet a lot of the folks who are in the room. So what I do is, because that is my natural talent, I am a natural deal engineer. If that was a good title for anything, it would be that. That's my skill. I'm a deal engineer. So I'm great at connecting people, and for whatever their purpose is, they can figure that out at the end. But I do have a good knack for connecting two people or individuals or companies or whatever to be able to create some sort of progressive, successful movement together in a collaboration effort. So that is my skill. So meeting people and connecting with people for sales or products or services is not a hard thing. It's pretty simple. So we get there, we're networking, we're meeting a few folks. I read one of the multi-million-dollar real estate investors here in Buffalo, New York. Very cool dude. Actually known him from a distance and over the phone. We had sent some messages back and forth, but never had a chance to really put a face to a name. So when we finally met, that just kind of opened up the ability to connect with everybody else who was in the room. So I met him face to face, met two world bankers, another Wall Street trader, another entrepreneur, and another couple other business owners. One of the guys, his dad owns a very, I would say, long-standing car lot in Lackawanna somewhere. But I was familiar with it, and they came up with an idea for real estate owners, which is pretty awesome. But, I just made a few connections early on. For me, when I go to events like that, I don't carry business cards. And that's one point about the $1 billion room that I'm going to get into our next meeting. The next time we have a conversation, we'll break down the concepts of how to navigate the $1 billion room. But when I go to networking events, if anybody knows me, they know I don't carry business cards. And it's typically, the reason why I don't carry them is because you don't ever look at the business card again. To me, my opinion, most wealthy people don't carry business cards. If you're going to connect with a wealthy person, you connect with them directly. You get their phone number, their email, their office, or something like that. They don't hand you a business card. The owners of Walmart aren't giving out business cards. Why? They don't want everybody to get in touch with them. So they're not putting out business cards anywhere. Business cards are a part of a process that I call information flow. This is something I learned from one of my other business coaches and mentors years ago. But the only reason why I would get business cards is if I needed to create some sort of flow of information and it be continuous without me being in control of the information. So that's the benefit of the business card. The business card is just to give you some sort of presence in any room or whatever without you actually being there physically. So when you don't have business cards, me personally, I don't carry business cards, so I make proper connections when I'm out and about. And thank God it all works out most of the time. I really can't say I haven't had any, I can honestly say I haven't had any issues not carrying business cards. I'll leave them around if I have them at that time or for different business ventures, just so people can grab them when I'm not around. But for the most part, it's just me meeting people, making proper connections, and we exchange information from there. So while I'm collecting all these different business cards, what I had them do was in that meeting, networking at that event, hey, pull your cell phone out. Let's text each other. Would it be okay if we connected directly? Oh, sure, Drew, that's fine. Now, obviously, we've made great connections already. So they're like, hey, yeah, give me your number. If they don't already have it, my cell phone number is there. Text me right now. I'll send you a bounce back text so we can be connected directly. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So that goes on for about 20 to 30 minutes of the networking portion of the event. The event itself was about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. Now, after we have our little networking portion to really meet and greet at first, then they usher us over to tables. There was a little bit of like continental breakfast food, but we were really just sitting there preparing for what was going to be the presentations of two companies that are up and coming and give the angel financiers or angel investors in the room a chance to actually invest in those companies because they were a part of some sort of award ceremony here. But, that was really the culmination of whatever event happened prior to that. And it was invite only, basically. So, as everybody gets to their table, they give everyone in the room a chance to get up and say who they are. Now, I was early in the meeting. My table was positioned where they got everybody from my table's name, information, and what do you do? That's what they asked. And because I was so early in the meeting, I was able to get my full 30-second pitch out. And I pretty much mastered the 30-second pitch. I said something to the effect of, at that time, I didn't even start with my name. I just jumped up. I said, well, most people have certain passion projects, and what they want to do is turn their passions into purpose. And I am Drew Dockery. I am a part of a passion project or a legacy project called the yada, 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 whatever at that time. And I pretty much killed it. Now, at that time, because of the way I introduced myself, everybody was kind of sucked into the conversation because they wanted to hear more about what it was that I did. So I laid the groundwork. Now, mind you, I went in there to get a few contacts in the beginning. After that 30-second pitch of who I was and what company I was a part of and what I was doing in the Western New York area, it pretty much made a lot of people in that room want to get in touch with me, want to connect with me. And I walked away with a lot of business contacts. Now, that was great. That was a cool instance. However, at that time, and this is something I'm going to go over when it comes to what I call the A3 formula. Our next conversation is going to be talking about that in detail. But I kind of fumbled the bag a bit because I didn't have something that we could all put together as far as the folks I had connected with in the room. I didn't have anything of value for them to really jump on and get involved in that was open to them at that moment. Whatever I was doing was going to pull them totally away from what they were already building. And it was kind of, a bad timing situation for most of them. But I'll get back to that. So let's get back to the story. So, all right. So the guys, they did their presentation. And I will say the presentations were terrible. Extremely terrible. And I'm not trying to throw shots at anybody. I just feel if you're a person of means, you're a person of wealth, you should have a high level of ability to communicate effectively. And effective communication is what I'm finding a lot of folks in the professional realm and as entrepreneurs do not have that ability. They don't have that skill to effectively communicate, which is what I teach, which is why the Connectors Corner is important. So we're helping folks with that. We're doing our part in our corner of the world. But after they did their presentations, the angel investors decided who they wanted to work with. Boom, they picked them up. There was another guy that I met at this event. He was an entrepreneur as well. Him and his business partner, they owned something that was going to be, or that is now, digital real estate. Like it's like basically for digital real estate, helping owners really keep a controlled understanding of their books, their numbers, giving their tenants options to pay online and different type of stuff. It was a mean platform they came up with. They showed me the platform and they even asked, because of what they saw me do in the 30-second pitch to really just say who I was, their question to me was, hey, we would like to hire you to work with us. We can't promise you a salary at the moment because we're just starting, but we need somebody who can communicate the way you do. Excuse me. And at this point in our business, we're looking to build and establish a sales force. That was pretty much my area of expertise, building a group of sales professionals who can go out, make money on commission, and connect with different people in the public who own properties. So it would have been nice just to get involved with them and then create their comp plan for the company. The only reason why I didn't do it is because I was so aggressively building the legacy project I was working on at that time. So I really didn't have time to take away from that. They were telling me I didn't have to take away time from other projects or other things that I was working on because I wasn't able to get paid through them. However, I knew as a business professional, anything that is worth your time, especially to something to the magnitude of that, which hadn't been done before at that time. And this is maybe 6-7 years ago. So at that time, there weren't too many platforms for people to do that. Nobody knew COVID was coming around. You know what I mean? So, or I can't say COVID, the pandemic. Nobody knew the pandemic was coming around. So had everybody known, then yeah, stuff like that would have already been in play. And nobody jumped on board until they had to be forced to use those means to be able to, make payments and create business revenue still. So it was definitely something I had to pass on. Do I regret passing on it? No, not really, because everything happens for a reason. Now, I didn't tell them no at that moment because we did create a good friendship, a good relationship where we just had an ongoing contact with each other and stayed in touch. But there were some other guys in the room that I connected with, and we really had great friendships for the time being. Unfortunately, I lost contact with a lot of those guys, and at this point in business, I'm reconnecting with a lot of them, and it's mainly because of the book. A lot of people are hearing about the book. They're reaching out. They're either finding me or I happen to come across them in some sort of networking event. We cross paths again and reconnect. But that's why I say this is key. You definitely want to get this book. So after the pitch, after meeting the investors, after meeting the entrepreneurs, after connecting with some of the other sales professionals, they ended the meeting with another opportunity to meet other folks who you had not met yet. So after I had given my 30-second pitch, after they did their presentation and everything else, now we're back to an open forum where we can kind of connect and communicate. So I have a bunch of people coming to ask me what I'm doing. Can we talk later? Can we have lunch or meet for lunch sometime that week? It was so overwhelming because it was a position I felt like I wasn't prepared for. Totally. Mainly not because of my lack of skill or talent. It was mainly just because of my doubt within myself. Had nothing to do with anything else. I just didn't feel like that was something I was ready for, because I know to whom much is given, much is required. That's a major responsibility when it comes to people starting to now look and seek your counsel. They look for your counsel, they seek your counsel. So I didn't feel like I was ready for that at that moment. I was already doing business coaching on a lot of different levels. But again, I was so focused on building, I didn't really want to take a step aside from what I was already doing to do anything else. So business coaching wasn't even in my field of view at that moment. Now, at that moment, I did know business coaching was something I was going to get into further on down the road. But like I said, at that moment, that wasn't a good time to make that move. So I was okay with that. But yeah, the $1 Billion Room was an experience that I really credit a lot of my growth to. It was more so a chance to see exactly what the business world was about. And once I got that chance to see it, it was like, oh, I got it. Okay, now I can see where I fit. Now I can see what I can do or what I can add to the marketplace. And, here we are a few years later, finally getting back to the marketplace. I've packaged what I need to package together. And we're starting to get out there and connect with some other folks as well to help them get to their next $1 billion experience or $1 billion room experience. Like I said, I believe every person who is in sales or some sort of entrepreneur of any kind, if you're a go-getter at all, you're probably going to end up in one of those rooms, especially if you're already making the proper connections. So that's my talk for today. Again, welcome to the Connectors Corner. Let's keep these conversations ongoing. I definitely look forward to connecting with you guys directly as you become a part of the mastery programs that I'm putting together, and the 5-day challenge we're speculating to put together too. A lot of these events and stuff take a lot of work, but just stay tuned to the Connectors Corner on Facebook, and stay tuned to the website, www.connectormastery.com. I'll put the information below and the links below so that you guys can connect with us on all platforms. And any questions, anything you guys have that you want to talk about, shoot me an email, comment below, share this video, like this video, share it with some entrepreneurial friends you have, some sales professional friends you have. Let's keep these type of conversations going. And as I tell everybody all the time, dream bigger, believe better, and expect greater. I'll see you guys soon.